Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up the next couple days. First off, we're hitting the Studebaker National Museum. They got the Cop Show Home Concours this weekend, and I've been invited to speak at the symposium on Friday to talk about David Lee's Ferrari 250 GTO, the Bianco Speciale he just picked up at Mecum Kissimmee. So myself, Eric, and Jonathan Summers, the motor and historian, are going to get up on stage and chat for about an hour about it, just discussing it and everything like that. So you can see it live. By the time this is posted, it'll already be done, but you might be able to watch the rebroadcast of it. I'll put a link down below. But first and foremost, remember guys, hit that like and subscribe button, please. The algorithms really appreciate that. Even make a comment, that's even better. But here's the big thing. I'm gonna post this one thing about how you can win this no rev F40 diecast model. So listen to this. All right guys, so here's the deal. You can win this no rev F40 scale model. I forget what size it is, 1/18, 1/12, whatever it is. Up here above, I'll show you what it looks like in boxes. This is still unboxed with the cellophane, everything on it. To win this, all you have to do is subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We hit 25,000 subscribers. Pick a winner from all the subscribers. You win this. So subscribe, like and share. Do everything you can to get our subscriber base up to 25,000, and someone's going to win this cool F40 no rev model diecast. It's awesome. I'll put the description and everything below, and you can see what it is. I'll send you to the site, but I'll put some other photos of it, of one unboxed, not this one, because it's never been open. So just like, subscribe, and share to tell people to subscribe, because then you could win this. Thanks, guys. We appreciate that support. Not a bad deal, is it? All you got to do is like and subscribe to the channel, and you are automatically entered to win that model. It's awesome. Unboxed, never opened, still in the cellophane. As you can see, I posted a couple photos of what it looks like unwrapped and I found online. It's a beautiful, beautiful model, but I've never opened it. It's still in the wrapper. It's absolutely gorgeous. So just subscribe to the channel, hit like on anything of the videos, it'd be much appreciated. And you got to share it with your friends, because we need to get at least 25,000 subscribers. Once we hit that number, I'm just going to pull a name out from the subscriber list, and that person's going to win it. No t-shirts to buy, nothing like that. So anyways, onward upwards. So first stop, Studebaker National Museum for the Cop Show Home Concours weekend. Saturday, from there, drive to Mount Vernon, Ohio for the Event 5. Put on the guys of the Triple F collection. Stradman's supposed to be there, the Hamilton collection. They do a heck of a job. It's a great event. Money raised goes to support Make-A-Wish. All the money goes to Make-A-Wish. They don't make a dime out of it. They fund all the costs. So it's awesome, awesome event. So we're going to go check there. We're actually getting early admission. I'm actually meeting my old man there. My pops are going to come down. We're going to walk it and do everything, and going to have a bunch of swag giveaways, so you got to check that out, because there's some good swag bags I'm giving away again. So I don't know if they'll let me take them in. I might have to give them out away in the parking lot, but it is what it is. So stay tuned for the videos coming up. Remember, subscribe to the channel. You can get entered to win that no rev F40 diecast model, unpackaged, brand new in the wrapper. So stay tuned, guys. More to come. Oh yeah, by the way, I rented a Beamer, an X7. All my vehicles decided to take a shit on me, and they're either getting repaired, need repair, anything like that. So I'm like, screw it. And it wasn't a bad deal, because Enterprise, I was scrolling through to do it. So for about 250 bucks, it was going to be like a mid-size Nissan Rogue or something like that. Well, for like another $45 total for the 3 days, I could get into this X7. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. So hence, I'm in the X7. And it'll help out too, because I can shuttle everyone around while we're at the Studebaker Museum. So, but stay tuned, guys. Lots of cool stuff coming. Appreciate the support. Hang in there. All right, guys, welcome back. As I say, we're starting into this. We're at the Studebaker National Museum here in South Bend, Indiana. Finally got here. It's Friday, symposium day, so we're all speaking. But before that, we're going to go do a tour of the museum. I'm here with Andy Beckman. He is from the Studebaker National Museum. This man knows everything about this museum, because he's been here. How long have you been here?
27 years.
27 years. So he knows his stuff. A lot more than I do about this stuff, because this is a really cool museum. So we're going to walk around with Andy here real quick and check things out, because it's how much you probably don't know about Studebaker and their history and how they got started. This is going to enlighten you, because it's really, really cool. So let's go. Say you walk in, you got this beautiful engines right here. You definitely have to buy some swag, but walk us through, Andy. Show us what we got. What
Sure
you guys
thing.
got here.
Well, we start with the Studebaker family's Conestoga wagon. This was actually built by family patriarch John Clement Studebaker to bring the family from Pennsylvania to their home in Ashland, Ohio from about the 1830s. And we call this kind of like the first Studebaker vehicle, if you will.
So Ashland, Ohio. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they
cool.
settled near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and then eventually moved westwards with a stop in Ashland, Ohio, before the family, the children, headed up to South Bend, Indiana.
How big was Ashland, Ohio back at that point?
Probably not very big.
I mean, it's not big now.
Exactly. But built by and the family's trade was in the old country. They came to this country in the 1700s, but they were sword makers in the old country in Germany.
Oh,
that
really?
translated to be blacksmithing in this country. And they were also, John C. was a very good wagon maker, taught his sons the blacksmithing and wagon making trade, and it paid off pretty well.
Yeah, it definitely did. And what's cool is when you start the tour, they got these great guides right here. So you can go through, take notes, and learn everything you can about it, and, take the memories with you. So it's really cool how they have this set up. But, it's really neat and how this, the history, how this all began. You get back and realizing from Germany, making swords, to all of a sudden making these carriages that are phenomenal. Because that was one thing I wasn't aware of. Is the fact is they were the preeminent carriage makers back in the day, correct? Buggies and whatnot.
Yeah, the Studebaker Brothers Manufacturing Company went from a two-man blacksmith shop that started in 1852. By the 1880s, they are the world's largest builder of horse-drawn equipment, and they made everything. We've got the hearse over here, the sleigh, buggies that guys like you and me are probably looking at buying to get around, and heavy construction equipment like the dump wagon here. If you could pull it behind a horse, chances are Studebaker built it for you.
Well, back in that time period, I mean, there had to be, because they were almost, you would say, national or almost worldwide in regards recognition-wise, right?
In an era when you saw a lot of vehicle making would have been local or regional. Studebaker was a global entity. They were exporting vehicles as early as 1881. We have a little press clipping that says, Studebaker just sent a shipment of wagons to Africa.
That's awesome. And you're talking, pre-internet days and everything like that, where word of mouth just goes far. But that tells you the name, the quality, and how well these things were manufactured and built, and just the Studebaker name itself. And it's really cool. And you got to look back and think about this. So you got these guys building these, being the preeminent buggy makers back in the day. So you're talking like these are the Mercedes guys. These are the Lamborghini, Ferrari type people and stuff like that. And this is what they're making, because this is the buggy people wanted to be seeing. Because that's just like today, you get yourself a fancy car. That's what you want to see. So what's going on here? I see this.
Yeah, this is actually the oldest actual Studebaker company-built vehicle that survived. That's from 1857, back when they were H&C Studebaker, which stood for Henry and Clement Studebaker, the two eldest boys who started the firm. And this carriage was actually brought back to the company shop here in South Bend to get some work done. And they said, "Wow, this is a pretty old one." And they brought down one of the Studebaker brothers from the offices, and he identified it as, "Yep, that's one that I made myself." And they refurbished it. It's been on display as part of the Studebaker corporate vehicle collection since, I believe, around the 1890s.
Oh, wow.
And they actually gave the guy who brought it in a new buggy in exchange for this. Can you only imagine how good that guy's day went? Hey,
Jay, do this. Take a new one.
By the way, you want a new one? And we really want your old one.
Look at that ironwork on that, though. Look how, all done by hand, like on that little fire pit like that, just doing it. But look at that. The craftsmanship's just incredible. That is just
the detail
gorgeous
work on these, and I think at their peak, like one year we have an advertisement, Studebaker was building 75,000 vehicles a year, and this is pre-assembly line era. This is just guys, in the shops, and the shop was, the factory was huge and very, they had line shafts going everywhere and all sorts of fancy equipment, but still, the pre-assembly line era, that's a fantastic.
Yeah, and you got to figure back then the population of America was maybe 3 million.
Not a lot
even
of people compared to today.
Yeah, so when you start breaking down the numbers, that's just incredible.
This is the very last Studebaker buggy ever built in 1919. They discontinued buggy production, the carriage line in 1919. The last farm wagon, we'll see that in a bit. That came off in 1920. And really an end of an era, but many people are surprised to learn that they were still building
Yeah.
horse-drawn equipment up into the teens.
Well, you got to figure back then, the transition to gas
It
power.
didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it didn't happen right. And so you got people that are out in rural Kansas or Idaho or wherever, not having to be able to afford a car, even though technically speaking they were rather inexpensive. But
the horse starts every morning.
Exactly. It's good to go. It's reliable. And you got guys back then, that's their hardcore mentality too. It starts up every morning and they think the engine was voodoo. But it's incredible looking back at the equipment, what you're able to accomplish with this type of equipment. You got stuff that's automated today, everything. You got these big, massive tracks, all this stuff like that. But then you look back, they were able to accomplish the same things.
We built a lot of stuff pulled by horses.
Yeah.
And, that the Industrial Revolution really happened at the start.
So I'm looking at this corn sheller. So did they get into started making other type of pieces of equipment?
Yeah, they did some of that. That wasn't a big part of their line, but just another thing. They had the equipment and the expertise to build that, and they're really neat. You just pull the crank, you take an ear of corn and shove it in the top, and
That's so cool.
yeah, shelled corn comes out the other side, and
That is awesome. Ingenuity. I mean, that's why I have such respect for engineers. I mean, because it's one of those deals.
And this is the Studebaker plant.
That was huge.
Yeah, 98 acres. We're talking 1890.
98 acres?
Yeah, plant covers 98 acres. And none of these buildings are left. And to be clear, the companies would commission these signs and tell the artists, okay, let's make everything look a little cleaner, and maybe a couple times buildings are maybe slightly. I've seen these where the buildings would grow next to story or suddenly they're twice as long as they had in real life. That one's actually fairly close to size there.
Is this a feed bucket or what's this?
That
is for a poop catcher?
No, we just actually put that on there so we could showcase the horse equipment there. Now, poop catchers are later. So.
Yeah, all right.
But and the Studebaker brothers went from very humble beginnings. They became some of the richest men in Indiana and built these fine mansions, one of which still remains here in South Bend, and really strong stewards of our community.
Is that the Tippecanoe? How do you pronounce that?
Tippecanoe Place. Yeah,
Tippecanoe.
Just a couple blocks from here.
Awesome house. If you love architecture, you definitely got to stop and check that out as well, because that is just a gorgeous house. And as you can see, they could grow some fine beards and give the guys from Duck Dynasty a run for their money.
Yeah.
So now there's some really, like you said, now being, worldwide and delirious, but there are some very, very famous people that utilize these buggies.
Yeah. In fact, we are home to the world's largest collection of presidential carriages. President Grant, actually, that's not a Studebaker, that is a Brewster carriage. President Lincoln's barouche, he took that to Ford's Theater the night he was assassinated. That was made by a gentleman from Baltimore. Sorry, not Baltimore. Marquis de Lafayette's carriage, that was made in Baltimore by a carriage maker just right in the downtown area. He used that in his first 1824 tour of the United States. And that was...
Wow.
Really one of the earliest examples of fine carriage making in this country. The thought was at that time, if you wanted a fine carriage, you'd send away to Europe for it. Well, that wasn't going to do for us celebrating our independence from
no.
European overseers.
I like how much light do these actually emit to actually sort of be able to see. But I mean, was there, this is just me, because how my brain works. Did the size of the wheels, or especially, correlate to a better ride or something like that? Mm-hmm. Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, the size of the wheels, I see they're kind of flared out, and that was
I see that.
The road force was actually forced the wheel onto the hub, just a little bit of safety engineering there. And some of these, you'll see the spokes are even staggered.
Yeah, I see it, where
they go into the hub. That's so it spreads out the stress over the entire axle stub.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, these things are beautiful. So this is the actual carriage he rode.
That is the carriage President Lincoln took to Ford's Theater. And Peter Studebaker, another one of the Studebaker brothers, he he was an avid Lincoln file. He collected everything he could find. It instructed the Studebaker secretaries any press clippings on President Lincoln he wanted brought to their attention. And Clement Studebaker, his brother, actually purchased the carriage in 1890, but I'll bet it was Peter Studebaker urging him. It's like, yeah, you got to go get that.
Yeah, God, yeah. I mean, that's like real. That's mega. There's no bloodstains in it, is there?
No, it took him there. It did not take him home.
Oh, that is so neat. I mean, that's just, it's that, you get that vibe from it, just knowing that was the case.
So President Benjamin Harrison, he did use Studebaker carriages. That was used during his term in office, actually one of an order for 5 carriages that they bought from the Studebaker brothers. President McKinley, William McKinley, used this Phaeton at his home in Ohio. And Canton, Ohio, we have a picture of him actually coming out of a church in Canton, and you can see the carriage.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is neat. I mean, they're just gorgeous.
And if we want to get a little technical, we also have a pony cart that was used by Dwight Eisenhower on his farm near Gettysburg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We don't really count that one as a presidential carriage, but if you want to add it into the tally, that's just fine with me. Well, you see you transition to automobiles, and we mentioned the horse-drawn era for Studebaker continuing to the teens. They were producing, especially the early part of the century. You could walk into your Studebaker dealer and say 1908, and you could purchase an electric vehicle. Their first automobiles were electric. You could purchase a gasoline-powered vehicle, or you could get a horse-drawn vehicle. So really, any mode of transportation, they were happy to sell you.
That's what I always find very interesting. The fact that back then is electric was very prolific.
Well, electrics really had a lot of advantages. J.M. Studebaker really preferred the electrics. We got a pair of electrics right here. And you hopped in, you flipped a switch, and off you went. I mean, there wasn't a gasoline-powered engine. First you had to find gasoline.
Yeah.
You had to crank, and then you had to make everything and check. Things were lubricate daily if you're going to operate the vehicle. But we actually took the 07 here down to a show in Houston, Texas, the Keels and Wheels show, and we never run this show. We'd never run this thing, so I just pulled out the instruction manual that the donor gave to us, and it's set up to write 4 Group 24 batteries underneath the front compartment there. So we hooked it up, and off we went.
That's awesome. Yeah, to your point, because a lot of those, especially back then, like the Model A's and T's, were like a total loss system. And you said, everyone, add this, add that. You have to plan your trip. It's almost like now with electric cars, because you got to plan when you're going to charge it. Mm-hmm. That's a cool little car.
Yeah, Studebaker entered the automobile market by essentially marketing other companies' firms. I mean, there were plenty of upstart manufacturers trying to get into the automobile market, but they didn't have a dealer network. Studebaker had a global sales network. So they entered first, it was a company from Ohio, the Garford Company, and later with the Everett Metzger Flanders Company of Detroit, EMF, and eventually Studebaker acquired EMF in its entirety, and that's how Studebaker entered the automobile market.
There's over 30,000 of those built.
Yeah. I think it was 1909, 1910. Studebaker was right around number 3 in automobile production. Of course, Henry Ford put that all on its ear.
Yeah.
A few years later.
It's like, I'll show you how to do it.
And Studebaker also had the name recognition as well.
True.
So, I mean,
Ford wasn't making buggies.
Yeah.
Studebaker was. So they already
in 1908, not many people had heard of Henry Ford, but the Studebaker name had been around for 50-some years. So.
Is this that?
The pony cart's on the right here.
Okay.
This sleigh was actually in a New Hampshire barn for a lot of years, and that's all original paint on there. In fact, the original tag on there, the ID tag for the model is on the back axle. It just hardly ever got used. So you say original condition, you can see the lettering on the runners there.
Yeah, I mean, you figure that'd be the first thing.
Yeah, that didn't stay there very long if this is any use. But
God knows. Wow, you barely used it. All right, onward. What's the next? We got progression here going.
We can go either track, whichever you prefer here. We kind of get into the teens and 20s, and Studebaker settled as kind of a medium-priced car, upper medium price. Mm-hmm. So many people thought they could take on Henry Ford and miserably, and Studebaker was very comfortable with. They're in the medium price market. You're going to get a quality automobile from Studebaker. The teens and 20s era, very rugged, solidly built automobiles. The Light 6 here, and Studebaker also, when they discontinued horse-drawn production, they began shifting automobile production from the Detroit plants here in South Bend. And this Light 6 is the very first car built entirely in South Bend. And it's serial number 1. It has, I think, 19 miles on the odometer.
That's it?
Yeah.
So did they like take it off assembly line and say, look, no, this is history, and they just...
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Wow.
So if you want to get a closer look at that.
Look at that. I mean, 19 miles. Look, you can see on the odometer right there, 19 miles. Wow, this thing is just awesome.
Yeah,
now, with something like this, because it's got the low mileage, I mean, do you guys fire these up on occasion?
This is not, I don't think this has run since 1920. I've never seen any footage of this operating.
That is so cool.
But yeah.
Well, it's great to see that they, because a lot of these, they didn't have the forethought to think, you know what, this is history, mate. We should save something. Like, no, sell them.
They had a pretty good feel for their, and I don't know if you can see it through the hub there, but there's actually the serial tag is through the wheel hub there.
You can see it right there, serial 1. You should be able to see that. That is so cool. Look at that, the Light 6. Just a hair under $1,500 new. So that was probably a year's salary for a lot of people? Maybe 2 years' salary?
Probably at least that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at it and go, that's cheap. Well, no, you got to look at
depending what line of work you're in. And eventually, Studebaker had the Light 6, they had the Special 6 and the Big 6, and these were, the Big 6, as the name implies, that was a 353 cubic inch inline 6.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was robust is probably the best way to describe that. But that,
hence, I guess that's why I was able to do this.
Yeah, I mean, just and again, Studebaker really playing off their name for building a quality product and endurance testing their cars. And a nice feature: the Big 6 got full pressure lubrication in 1924, and it could just go and go and go and go. And you figure. There was a track outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey, Amatol, New Jersey, the Amatol Speedway. Google it. It's a lot of fun to look at. You can just see the outline on Google Maps still.
Yeah.
So 25,000 miles and 23,000 minutes. So 23,000 minutes is about 16 and a half days. That averages out, so they ran day and night for 16 and a half days, and they averaged just over 65 miles an hour.
How many guys did they have driving? Do you know?
I think they did like 4-hour shifts or 2-hour shifts. They changed off, but I mean, they were going around the clock.
Yeah. That's impressive. I mean, that's impressive today.
And that's running time. That's when they came in to refuel, the clock was still running, or if they had to change tires or anything like that.
That's awesome.
The other car here, this was the same chassis for these two cars. Coast to coast, 77 hours and 40 minutes, 3,300 miles. And when you consider traveling coast to coast at that time,
yeah, especially
you got west of Mississippi, it got a little sketchy.
That's the same chassis that sits on. So you have different body styles. You can see your 2-door cabriolet here, then you got your 4-door. You almost want to say SUV of the day back then, technically, because the way it stands, stuff like that. But yeah, going across country back then was a feat in itself.
Yeah,
and
they had
these guys doing it.
They had an auxiliary gas tank in the back seat here. You can see the old fuel line from that.
Oh, look at that! See it? That is.
Yeah, that must have
been
great for the air quality.
Yeah, they probably smelled great in there. But to your point, like talking about before, is finding gas. Especially as you got out in the West into no man's land.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a gas station or a Sheetz or something like that on every corner, that kind of stuff. But
yeah, and this was
look at this.
This was privately owned. Gentleman bought this 1919 Big 6, and he ran a newspaper delivery route. Like he went to can't remember if it's the Los Angeles Times, one of the Los Angeles newspapers. He would fill the back of the touring car with newspapers, and he actually pulled a trailer behind there, and he would go around to the other places and drop off the bundles of newspaper. And the first couple of years, he had put on 90,000 miles on this car, and then by 1923, Studebaker heard about this, and it had 390,000 miles on it. So Studebaker reacquired it, and they did it up as a promotional vehicle, and just, again, a testament to Big 6 engines just kept on going.
That's super impressive today for a car. I mean, that is awesome.
Yeah, take that, Irv Gordon. So.
Well, I just told you about build quality back then, and the attention to detail. How they went about doing everything. In regards to they're building the cars here. How much did they do in house in regards to manufacturing, like all the ancillary parts?
They at this point, for a while in 20, Studebaker was actually building their own axles.
Oh, really? So they had their own foundry.
What's that?
They had their own foundry.
Oh yeah, they were casting all the engines. They had one of the most state-of-the-art foundries in the 20s, opened in 1923. So they were casting all the engines. They did outsource transmissions, but differentials for a while. Eventually they outsourced more stuff to the specialty equipment, but they were very proud of the fact that they made just about everything in-house.
Well, it's quality control in that essence. You start doing that instead of outsourcing.
They opened their test facility, Studebaker
cool.
Proving Ground, in 1926, celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. It's still there. It's still in use as a test facility.
Oh, it is?
International is using that. And so this part here, International owns. The rest of it is Bendix Woods County Park. You can go have a picnic in the Studebaker trees.
That's cool. Oh, so these are all still here?
Those are all still there.
Oh, wow. So where's that from here?
West of town, about 7-8 miles.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. You have to get out of there. It's really a neat ride.
That is cool.
And Studebaker, we get to the later 20s. Their inline 8 President model debuted in 1928. They went racing at the Indianapolis 500, 1932 and 33. We have one of the factory Indianapolis race cars upstairs here.
That's
you can
cool.
see that.
Look at that. Yeah, because that was the, racing back then was, obviously people wanted to race, but it was more about proving the reliability of your car and doing it.
And the irony, the Depression took its toll on, the entire country. The automotive industry saw so many grand manufacturers just disappear, especially in the luxury market. Studebaker came to the very brink of having to close their doors. They declared receivership in 1933. They were able to come out of receivership. They slimmed down, cut a lot of models. They had purchased Pierce Arrow in 1928. Studebaker was trying to go like the General Motors route, the car for every person purpose. So they introduced the Erskine, an economy-ish model, to kind of at the bottom end, and then they bought Pierce Arrow to be their luxury manufacturer. Well, the Depression dashed all that, and Studebaker made some questionable financial decisions in the Depression, and they were just broke by 1933. But thankfully, they were able to reemerge.
Yeah, that was great to see, because, what they started producing, after that was just, these cars are just so stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, the presidents of the late 20s and early 30s, CCCA Full Classics. This is one of my favorites, the St. Regis Brougham. The body style, the front door on these is so massive and long. And it's really, especially on the longer wheelbase, it's just such a graceful design. And that was a Studebaker and Pierce Arrow had a similar body style like that.
And Lauren's talking about the hood ornaments. The symposium's going on today. Lauren from the Revs Institute, she is prolific in understanding and knowing the histories of all these fantastic hood ornaments throughout the years, because that was kind of the big thing, is having this hood ornament, because it stated what car it was. People see it and they knew it, and they're just so beautiful. They're just gorgeous. God, these are just stunningly beautiful cars. So now you say there's an upstairs.
There is an upstairs.
All right, let's go upstairs.
All right.
All right, so we're heading upstairs, and I wanted to check
you're
this.
welcome to play with that.
Check that out.
You already started. I'm just checking the oil. Make sure.
So these were actual lettering from a dealership, from the Newman Altman dealership in the late 1950s.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Actually, some guy named Carl gave us those, and we just turned it around to spell Lark. So
that is neat. And coming down the stairs,
it's Maria.
It's Maria. This lady is fantastic, putting things together here. She's awesome. Be sure to say hi to her if you come here, if you see her walking around. So here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, we also do our feature exhibits up here. We're doing an exhibit 5 driven women.
Oh, that's awesome.
These luxury automobiles were all owned or driven by women, and a rather unusual occurrence back at this time period. But we tell their stories and show these vehicles. We have Amelia Earhart's Cord is kind of anchoring the entire exhibit. We'll see that in just a minute.
That's awesome to see. As myself being a girl dad, so you like to see that, the women getting their recognition, especially from back then, that was so difficult for them.
Yeah, we often hear too, people are like, well, I didn't know Studebaker built trucks. And
they built awesome trucks. They're gorgeous.
The Coupe Expresses from the early 30s or late 30s, those are highly sought after today. Basically an El Camino
exactly
from the 1930s.
Yeah. I love those because it's just, yeah, to your point, it's like El Camino from back in the day. And yeah, it's, these things are so cool. And of course, the fact is back then when a truck was a truck, it wasn't
Yeah.
like, hey, it was made for one purpose only.
Yeah, the creature comforts. We have all the production records for these, and people can write in and, for a fee, we can supply a copy of their production record for their vehicle.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
And it's always, you think of, you see the F-150 Raptor Lightning that's got everything.
Yeah.
And you see these things, and the option might be, it might have bumper guards, or it might have a heater.
It's got 1-2 line items. That's it.
I finally found one that actually had a radio listed from the factory. I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy was splurging.
Look, see, the Schumacher name's well known all the way back then. Mm-hmm. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So we get into the 50s. I mean, Studebaker hung its hat on styling. They hired Raymond Loewy to handle their automotive design. He started in 1938. 1936 I hired him, but the 38s were the first models, and every Studebaker up until the 1956 Hawks, and then he came back for the 63 Avanti, and that's really it. Studebaker, that was their business card, was their styling. You count on something unusual from Studebaker. The bullet nose models of 1950 and 51. Those are the Studebaker standard bearer. I mean, if anyone knows one Studebaker, it's that one.
Yeah, from that front end. I mean, that's just so iconic. God, that's
and
so
they
beautiful.
they sold like 500,000 of them between those 2 years.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Then came the Starliner hardtop in 1953, considered by many the most,
You gotta say sexy.
the most advanced automotive design of the 1950s. Very European influenced. If you look at a 53 Ford or 53 Chevy, it's pretty perpendicular.
Yeah. I mean, that's, it's groundbreaking, I guess you could say, for back in that day. I mean,
these were, half a foot lower than any, the equivalent coupe models in the competition, and just set the industry on its ear.
That is gorgeous. And this is Amelia Earhart's
That
Cord.
is Amelia Earhart's Cord. Local collector, the JBS Collection, was gracious enough to share some of their vehicles with us for this exhibit. Also co-sponsors of the Concord Elegance at Cop Show Home, which will be coming up here tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The old coffin noses they're always known by. But those things are great cars.
I can only imagine what someone must have thought when they saw these driving down the road in the early 30s. Like, what just landed on this earth?
Well, to your point, you're saying before, so the way manufacture's done, a lot of cars were basically, I'm going to say identical, but they followed the same, basically, design thesis in regards to how they were laid out and stuff. So when you came out with something like this, and then I always think it is the airfoil. It's the airfoil? Airstream? Airflow.
Yeah.
They came out that, should have done fabulous, but everyone just, they couldn't wrap their head around
you also got to make it
the
look
design.
Nice. Yeah, this is kind of our one-off area here. The Bendix car. This is made by the Bendix Corporation here in South Bend. They supplied a lot of automotive industry components.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a demonstrator of, look at all the things we can build for the automotive industry. So this is every Bendix product made. They only made one, and it was never shown in the United States because Vincent Bendix did not want his largest customers to think he was going to
start competing them.
Yeah.
I could see that. That's a good-looking car.
The Packard Predictor, that was a show car for the 1956 auto show circuit. Coachwork by Ghia in Italy. It's built on a Clipper chassis. And the coachwork, the whole car, they sent over the chassis. The coachwork took like all of 3 months to build, and it
really. So this has got almost a Targa roof, almost in essence. Those roll in.
The rear window is retractable. It's got a whole host of electrical features. The Packard push button automatic transmission, but it was, thankfully, normally these would have gotten broken up once they were done with the show car. It was, tarp was thrown over it. I think it was out at the Proving Ground garage for a lot of years. And then when the collection was given to the city of South Bend after Studebaker closed, this came with it.
That is cool.
The Scepter was done by Brooks Stevens, a part of a trio of cars that were commissioned to look at new, what the next Studebakers might be. This was done in 1962. And one of our guests this weekend at the show will be Steve Stevens, Brooks Stevens' son.
Well, that's interesting how the dials are in the dash like that.
Yeah, very, they were looking for, and these are all built on 1961 Studebaker Lark chassis.
How's it the speedometer gauge work? Is there a
Well,
line?
some of these, yeah, I think it was. There's some cases of, we'll put it on there first and figure out how to make it work later. Like the
Let's go for looks first. What we're about how things operate. That's a good looking car.
the headlight was this. The press said, "Oh, it's a tubular headlight made by Sylvania." What it was, it's a fluorescent light tube in there, so it would actually light up, but they didn't really develop it any further beyond that.
I mean, look at that. That is that's incredible. That's a good looking car.
Yeah. So this would have been slated to replace the Hawk. Unfortunately, Studebaker's finances were so poor that it didn't come to pass. Here, we can wander over and check out the Indy car while we're.
And everyone should know this.
The Muppet car.
The
definitely.
Muppet car. Fozzie Bear, the Muppet car.
That is the screen used car from the Muppet movie that shows the Muppets driving. If you haven't watched the film recently, it still holds up.
Oh God, yeah, you gotta love the Muppets. That's just a classic. That is iconic. That's so neat.
So to show the Muppets actually driving, they had it rigged up to be driven from the trunk, and you can see the trunk controls here.
Oh, look at that.
So what they would do is they would take out the back seat back, and then the whole assembly the pedals would get shoved forward and clamped down, and then they would have a little person seated back there looking at the monitor that shot through a camera.
So that's how he saw where he was going, was through there.
Yeah. So just completed the restoration
so
on this
cool.
car.
Was this donated, or how'd you guys get your hands on this?
This came from folks in California who had kind of kept tabs on the car. Warner Brothers kept it for a while, thinking there might be a sequel.
Yeah.
There were follow-ups to the Muppet movie. They didn't use the car. The Holcomb family out in the Los Angeles area helped.
Is this the camera?
Yeah.
There's the camera.
That's the camera there.
That is so cool.
Yeah, shout out to the guys at Razorfly Studios for their work on the restoration.
Yeah, I mean, because that's 80s, right?
79 the film came out.
79.
Yeah.
You're talking doing that kind of stuff. I mean, that's impressive. That little TV monitor.
Yeah.
And here's our 1933 Indy car.
Yeah, this is one of the Studebaker factory team. It campaigned 1933. They rebodied them for 1934 with more aerodynamic bodies. And Studebaker bragged that these were, like 70% stock, 80% stock. So they used Studebaker engines, axles, brakes. The chassis itself was made by Herman Rigling down in Indianapolis.
Oh, look at that. That's beautiful.
337 cubic inch straight eight, straight out of the Studebaker President. This was in the early years of the junk formula at Indianapolis. They really wanted to encourage more production-based equipment. And the Studi engine, big, long, straight eight, 9-main bearing crankshaft, and kind of like the Big Six, it held together. These weren't necessarily the fastest, but, the Miller Fords were very complex, were faster than the Studebaker, but they wouldn't make it to
it wouldn't last. Yeah, that was the key, right? It's like at first it's got to last, get to the finish to finish first.
Yeah, in order to finish first, you must first finish.
Exactly. And as you can see, back in the day, that's when they had the riding mechanics. Mm-hmm. So hence the second seat in there.
Yeah, and this was used extensively in the vintage racing circuit. If anyone was at, this was at Road America a number of times for the, I think it was the Brian Redmond Classic. I saw it there. And yeah, it was actively raced up until about 2020. The gentleman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. You can see the Colorado Grand. That was one of the first events that went on. And
so that's awesome when owners like that, they use, that's what as a car is. It's made to be used.
Yeah. We were able to acquire the vehicle just a couple of years ago, and we'd all but given up on finding and acquiring one of them, but then lo and behold.
Do you guys, in regards to cars for the collection, basically just rely on donated cars, or do you guys acquire cars, or how do you go about, acquiring vehicles to put on display that obviously have some significance to the Studebaker history?
Well, we do have a collection plan of kind of our targeted vehicles and what we're looking for. We have a collections committee that kind of governs that and looks for that, and we receive offers all the time. If people, think of something we might be interested in, please urge them to reach out.
Yeah, I mean, what a better place
most of our
for
vehicles have been donated over the years. But we're certainly happy to talk to anyone.
Yeah, I think that's great when people realize the significance of a vehicle and donate it to a museum. Yes, hey, you can get a few dollars, what have you, but letting other generations see these cars and these, the history, I think is more valuable than putting a few more dollars into your bank account of your kids or everything. Because I think people understand, especially as time goes on, it's people are going to forget, like, this is how things were done. Where cars came from. You know, you have touch screens, all that stuff now, and all this jazz. I mean, you know, this is the birth of it, especially here, because they started with the carriages in the 1800s and coming through. I mean, you want to talk about following the path of the automobile, you come here.
Yeah, this is the Avanti, the car that outlives Studebaker.
Yeah.
It's one of the most improbable stories in automotive history. Studebaker built the Avantis for 18 months. It was built on a whirlwind schedule. It went from drawing board to production in 14 months, which is absolutely crazy. I think the Mustang was like 3 years and change.
Yeah.
That was considered rushed. But fiberglass bodied Studebaker's image vehicle. Unfortunately, Studebaker was in tough shape. The Avanti could not save Studebaker. They built about 4,600 of them. Then the company shut down the South Bend plant and canceled the Avanti. 2 South Bend Studebaker dealers thought the Avanti was too good to die. So these guys who had never built a car before in their life acquired all the rights, the production equipment, the buildings, and they started producing the Avanti on like a cottage industry basis, building a couple hundred cars a year to order. And they kept building them up until actually the late 1980s.
Yeah.
It came back again with an updated version on first the Camaro,
Yeah.
and then the Mustang chassis. But this car, a gentleman wanted to go racing in Bonneville. They had just introduced the D production supercharged class, which opened it up for Studebaker power. So he wanted to break a record with a Studebaker powered Avanti.
Good man.
And they actually did it in 1993.
Yes.
200.426 set the record. And yeah, it's a true testament to perseverance. And unfortunately, Ron Hall was the gentleman's name, and he had been battling some health issues over the years. Unfortunately, he set the record and actually passed away a short time later.
Oh, well, he broke the record. There you
Yeah.
go. Let's see. Look at that. Paxton Supercharged. Oh, it's cool. That's cool. Everyone's got.
Yeah, that was the fundraiser for, I think it was $5 or $10. You could sign your name under the hood.
Oh, good. Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah, they ran. So there's a high pressure bubble on Avantis that's right in front of the windshield. So they took advantage of that to help get more air in. That's why the air intake's there. You couldn't run an air dam, but you could route your exhaust any way you wanted to. So they routed the exhaust out the front and off the driver's side. So it became the de facto air dam. They narrowed the rear bumper.
Yeah, you can see it, tucked it in.
Yeah, tucked it in so it looks same, but it hugged the body more for better aerodynamics.
See, it's all how you interpret the rule book.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
They were having traction problems at high speeds. They were getting some lift. So what they ended up doing is they hollowed out like the MagnaFlow mufflers, the original mufflers that they actually weren't using anymore. They filled them with like lead ballast. So they added like 150 pounds, but yeah, right ahead of the axle, which is where he needed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Andy, thank you so much for taking us around.
My pleasure.
This is appreciative. You have to come to South Bend and check this out because it's not only the Automotive Museum, there's other museums that are tied into this complex that you can go and check out. So it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. And if you don't make it to Cop Show Home this year, because this will probably come out after the fact, definitely got to get it on your bucket list to come because it's a fabulous, fabulous event. Showcases everything around here, especially the Studebaker Museum itself. It's a lot of fun. So sure, check it out. Remember, hit that like and subscribe button, guys, and more to come because we still got the concourse. Thanks, guys. Hey, guys, welcome back. We are here at the Studebaker National Museum for the Cop Show Home Concours weekend. It's Friday, and we did a symposium, which you will see in another video. I did a little chat with myself, Jonathan Summers, the motor historian, and Eric Monasterelli from GT Motors Works. I forget how his thing is. But anyways, they have on today behind the museum, on the museum grounds, I should say, is the Concours de l'Homme. Now, it's not a massive one like you see at some of these places, but it's a nice curated selection of about, 20-some cars. But we're going to check it out. Got my Diet Mountain Dew, got my swag on, but let's just check out what they got going on and see. They got a cool motorcycle right there. But you're going to start with the Bricklin. Look at that. SV1 Bricklin. Look at that. That's outstanding. SV1. Check out the auto. I thought these are manuals. Well, look at that. And then you got the AMC Concours. Look at that straight six in there. Look at that. But check out that velour interior. Oh my God. If they had smell-o-vision, that's a very unique smell in that car. Got the Studebaker Avanti. That's a newer one. You can tell by the front end. Got Missouri tags on it. It's at 1990. So yeah, so this was the one after those guys brought the rights to it and everything like that. Started building more. Got a Studebaker Lark. Andy Beckman and his team, they raced one of these in the Concours de Lemons Racing. But look at that. That thing's cool. Look at this thing. That air cleaner down there. What is this? Studebaker. It's a Studi. That's outstanding. 3 on the tree. That is very, very nice. Very nice. Oh, little bastard. This is that Lark. That thing's pretty cool. Got the phone in there. That's kind of funny. Then we got the Studebaker truck. Look at that. Automatic. That's a newer one. What year is this? That's a 63? Wow. I think it's in pretty decent shape. I like the patina. That doesn't seem like that's a standard regular bed on that though. Maybe it is because it's got the tailgate. And then we have 54. They made these in a convertible? That's a factory convertible? Well, looks like it. I did not know that. Check out the air vent though. There's air conditioning for you right there. Shoots it right into the wheel well for you. Then we got Swedish meatballs, but I don't think this SLK is Swedish. But they got the Volvo wagon. But look at this thing. Look at this Alpine. It is awesome. Look at this. There's for his cool suit. Look at that. Somehow I don't think he spent the $500 that qualifies this for the Concours of Lemon, right? That thing is cool. And then we got over here, didn't have a tag on it. 64. Look at that thing's nice. Studebaker Daytona. You got that dash. Dude, that thing's nice. All right, so now we're getting into the main show. You can see it's not all that big. This is what they got going on. Got the Dodge Neon. I'm not sure how that Corvette fits in there as a lemon, but it is what it is, right? I want to say this is a 96 collector edition, but he's charging up his Ryobi. It's not a ZR1, is it? Oh, no. It'd be, but look at that. Should be a 96, right? Yeah. The collector's edition. The last year, the non-blue with the white stripe. That thing's clean. That thing's very pretty. We got the Saturn. Look at that. Now, my wife's first car ever was a Saturn. It was a 5-speed manual SL1. I tell you what, that car was fun to drive. I will give you that. I had a blast with that thing. Got the Geo Tracker, 95. Classic. Outstanding stuff there. Oh, and got the Ford Focus that he's been racing, broken racing. So as you can see, you gotta strip these suckers out. Now, see, the thing with the Concours, the 24 hours of lemons at your race, simply as you can't spend more than $500 on the car, but you're gonna have to spend like another $20,000 to $30,000 on roll bar, fire suppression systems, all that kind of stuff. So it is by no means cheap. So, but it's still a lot cheaper than, I guess, getting a regular race car. Look at this Subaru.
We're gonna hear the theme from Bluey.
Look at that. Those of you who watch Cannonball Run, this was the car that was a Japanese one that and Jaws, the guys from Bond movies drove. It was Jackie Chan and that guy. I can't remember his name, but that's what this was, and they had it all souped up. That 4Runner is clean. and keep it clear of the maxi taxi. Look at that. That took a lot of work. I mean, gluing those little balls, everything on there. Outstanding stuff. Oh, that's a great way to fix a hole. A little fuel for the fire, a little PBR. Look at that. Oh, they got my favorite cars over there. My high school car, Pontiac Fiero. I really think I need to get my hands on another one of those. Honda Civic. We got the Miata. Got the Jeep Cherokee. Then we got the Blues Brothers tribute right here. Look at that. It doesn't have the big thing on top, whatever. It needs the big speaker. So look at that. Fun, fun, fun. Outstanding. But look at this beauty right here. This is so cool. That is awesome. Look at that.
You don't need that money. You've got retirement.
That's so fun. Here she is.
Cash flying our way.
Look at that.
We're about to hear the blue.
86.
Ready? Let's get countdown 10. Wait for your 10.
Love that.
9. Time out.
Very nice. Look at this. I'm not sure how a 66 GTO is a Concours Lemon, but and then the Dodge Neon next door. So, as you see, that's it. It's not the biggest Concours Lemon, but it's got some quality to it. You know, so I'm sure as years go in, this is the first year having them here, it'll go and grow. But check out the entries. I think that's where Eric is staying right there. Look at that cool house. But look at the stonework on this. This is the carriage house. This is too cool. Look at that. Look at this beautiful, beautiful structure. They got the balcony up there, museum entrance. Yeah, I know this is an automotive area, but I love architecture too. But check this out. Oh my goodness. That is just stunning. Very, very stunning. I don't know if we can go in that way. Look at that. Check out the entrance, the wall. That is too cool. So anyways, there you have it. So stay tuned. This was our little journey here to the Studebaker National Museum for today and showcase everything around. But tomorrow we are in Mount Vernon for the Event 5 put on by the Triple F Collection. So I got to hit the road at like 5 a.m. from South Bend to get down to Mount Vernon by 10 because early entry, which I paid for, starts at 10:30 to get in there. And I meet my old man. My pops is going to meet me up there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But remember, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. Do what you can to help support the channel. And remember, you can win that just by becoming a subscriber and sharing it. So do what you can. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Stay tuned for more to come.